What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Browns Postgame Reaction. I am Joseph Labman. Thanks for tuning back in. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way in here. Smash that like button on the way in here as well. And make sure you share this content. I really appreciate that. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a good Monday. Not a victory Monday, as the Browns, oh boy, yesterday. I mean, I know they weren't favored to win, but they still had a chance. But I'm gonna get into what my take is on the game today. I got a little presentation set up, kind of what my thoughts are on the game. When I went to bed last night and after the game yesterday, I had a different tune than I had today. Yesterday I was kind of like, all right, yeah, the Bengals are just playing better football. Watson's trying to get on the same page as receivers still, getting the rust shaking off the rust still. And the defense hasn't been good all year, so I'm kind of like, yeah, it is what it is. Man, but the more I thought about that game after and just kind of last night, and then when I woke up this morning and it popped in my head a little more, I was thinking about what I was going to say on this reaction today. I'm kind of like, you know what? I got a whole different take on this because the more I thought about it, I'm like, Kevin Stefanski. I got a different take on Kevin Stefanski today than I have probably since he's been the coach. And I've thought this a couple times, but I'm going to get into it right now, kind of what my take is. So sit back and listen to my take because it's about to get a little hot up in here. Every Sunday after the game, most games, I mean, sometimes we win, but most of the time we lose as a Browns fan. This is my reaction right here. And most other fans as well. Now, I ask you, why is that my reaction? Well, not just because we lost. That's my reaction because I just can't believe some of the incompetent stuff I watch when I watch these games. I mean, where do we start yesterday? So let's start in the first quarter. All right, we get out on the fourth down. Rather, yeah, we're down on our first drive. We're in the fourth down. Deshaun Watson's rolling. He's making a couple nice throws. He looks in rhythm. You're like, okay, this is nice. Kevin Stefanski comes out with this play here with Jacoby Brissett on a 4th and 1. Now, a lot of people said, okay, yeah, Jacoby's running sneaks all year. Jacoby's, he played solid, but they're going to, well, let's get the sneak. Does it really matter if Deshaun Watson or Jacoby Brissett runs a sneak? I actually think Deshaun Watson is actually probably better. I mean, I know Jacoby's a little bigger. He's getting them all year. But, again, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you take the guy you just paid $230 million, all guaranteed, you pull him out of the game? I don't care if it's second game back or not. His ass should be out there converting the 4th down. And I'm watching that. I remember I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Okay, I'm thinking, all right, maybe they're just going to get the sneak. As long as we get the first down, you better get the first down. And then you watch the play develop. They bring out Pharaoh Brown, who's a blocking tight end. Harrison Bryant comes out of the game. Harrison Bryant's a much better tight end than Pharaoh Brown. Better pass catcher, rather. And so I'm sitting there looking like, okay, we know the sneak's coming. Cincinnati, they just stuffed you on a 3rd and 1. Well, you should have got that one, but it was a bad play call there. Missed assignment. It was just a bad play on the 3rd down. But Deshaun's rolling. So I'm thinking, okay, well, you feel pretty good the way he looks on the first couple, at the first, 5-6 plays or so. No, we're going to pull him out of the game, and we're going to run this. And not only did they not run the sneak, it's a play action and throwing it to the back corner on the right side of the field to Peoples-Jones. Peoples-Jones is open, and I get the concept of the play. Well, they're expecting the sneak, so we're going to just throw a pass. We'll throw him off guard. But you got a guy who's ice cold. I mean, did Brissett even warm up? Because we don't. I'm sure he warmed up, but he didn't get as many snaps throughout the week. This guy hasn't played in 2 weeks. He hasn't thrown. He's not really in rhythm. And again, you got a guy you just paid $230 million, who I believe, when he's at his best, is a top 10 at least. You're pulling him off the field, a top 10 quarterback in the league when he's at full strength, and you're pulling him off the field. That just makes no sense. I don't care if it's a 4th and 1. It doesn't really matter if Brissett runs it or Watson runs it. Watson can get a 4th and 1. If Joe Burrow can get it, Deshaun Watson can get it. Okay, and Joe Burrow converted a couple of those yesterday. But again, and what does and Brissett overthrows Peoples-Jones, and it's just a wasted drive. And you're just kind of sitting there like, hey, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm standing on the sideline, and I'm standing on the sideline, right? And I'm watching all this, and I'm just like, dude, I was just rolling. You just killed me. You killed his rhythm. Like, it just kills the whole. And from that point on, the rest of the half, it looked just like the game we saw last week. 3 and out, 3 and out. Not a whole lot going. And listen, Watson's still shaking off the rust. There's a couple of those crosshair routes yesterday. Peoples-Jones was open. Amari Cooper was open. His timing's not there yet with the receivers. I think his feel and the timing's not. It's still off a little, right? Okay, that's fine. He still played. I actually thought Watson played a pretty good game for the most part. He looked a lot better than last week. I mean, my gosh, some of the throws he made yesterday, just in that game alone, getting hell with his leg being dragged down on the third down and throws a dart 20 yards over the middle to Peoples-Jones in traffic. I mean, and there was a bunch of those kind of plays. You could see that Deshaun, that we all know that he is, extending plays, making something out of nothing. But here's the problem. Going back to the coaching, this is why I say yesterday I have a different tone on not just the game itself, but the whole organization as a whole and what they need to do going forward. You can't expect one guy to just bail you out all the time, and he hasn't played in the 700 days, because that's kind of the road they're starting to trend down, and that's not a road you want to go down. And so, again, let's get back to Kevin Stefanski and why I'm saying now I think Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat and should be on the hot seat, right? Now, again, I've tried to get Kevin Stefanski so many passes. I like Kevin Stefanski in a lot of ways. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I just don't know if he's... sometimes you just question, does he show head coaching qualities a lot of times? Because offensively, I think he's a pretty good offensive coordinator for the most part. He's good at calling some things consistently. Now, the only thing I would knock him down, he doesn't get the big playmakers at the ball. He doesn't get his big offensive playmakers the ball enough. And sometimes you're just kind of like, yeah, we know you got a nice system. You can call some nice plays here and there. And what I mean, he throws some nice games. He'll call some nice games, rather. You go back to when he was in Minnesota. He did a pretty nice job. He was solid. He's a solid play caller. But sometimes you just kind of wonder, does he make the team great? And I thought of something. I heard somebody say this earlier. If you put Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, any of these guys on our offense, they might just look like average players. Not by their own doing. Because they don't get fed the ball. Jamar Chase got 15 targets yesterday, and he should have. Because this is another reason right here why I'm questioning Stefanski. Are you going to double Jamar Chase? T. Higgins is out. Boyd's out. They got two dudes that I never even heard. No disrespect, but their other two of their top three receivers are out. So really, you only got one guy. Their tight end was out. All you got to worry about is Mixon and Chase. No double team at all. No adjustment. Nothing. This dude caught 10 targets for 15. And everybody wants to kill Ward. But I'm going to be honest. I'm not even really going to blame that on Ward. I thought Ward made some nice plays. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't throw Martin Emerson on Jamar Chase a couple times because he's a little bigger. And I thought he's been playing better this year. He's been their best corner this year. I mean, I know Denzel, you paid him all that money, and he's supposed to be your number one corner. But, I mean, lately Martin Emerson's been doing it. Why is Martin? But again, just do something. Why didn't you double this guy ever? They just let him do whatever he wants. And you're just kind of sitting there and you're like, Kevin, I know, listen, everybody's getting on Joe Woods all year. Mike Prefer, Joe Woods, awful. All right, we know that. But as the head coach, do you ever take it upon yourself? Because maybe he did, and maybe Joe Woods just said, the hell with you, I'm not listening to you. I don't know, because yesterday, you're not doubling this guy. The guy's doing whatever the hell he wants, and they're just marching right up and down the field when you're still kind of in it. Do you ever go over to the guy like, hey, Joe, hey, man, You think it's logical to throw a double team at Jamar Chase? Did that occur yesterday? Did Kevin Stefanski ever think to do that? Because great coaches, you think Belichick didn't tell Josh McDaniels? Because he did, actually. If you go look at, I remember I saw it. Go back to watch Bill Belichick, some of his mic'd up, when he's mic'd up during games on NFL films. You can find on YouTube. You know how many times I saw Belichick tell Josh McDaniels, "Hey Josh, let's run the ball here. Quit throwing it. Let's stick a run in here." And what did Josh McDaniels do? He ran the ball. Now McDaniels, now I'm not getting him as a head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, did a pretty damn good job. Obviously, he was pretty great as a offensive coordinator with Brady, and part of their success with all the Super Bowls. But when the head coach makes a decision and says do something, do it. They do it, or at least have a discussion. I don't think Stefanski does that. It doesn't seem like he just lets Joe Woods do it, or he just tags along with it. And so again, no adjustments. Situationally, you're bad. And again, look at the Tony Fields play, for instance. In the third quarter, you get a nice 3 and out. You get the ball back. You get good field position. They were deep in their own territory when they're on the 3 and out. And Tony Fields, number one, and this is why I'm not going to blame it all on Tony Fields. Yes, that's kind of a logical play as a player. You shouldn't hit the punter, because that's what happens. You get a penalty. But again, why are we sending everybody after this punter that deep in the territory? Just get the ball back. You're playing the field position at that point. Why are we sending the house and blitzing and charging the punter? Why are we trying to block the punt? Like, I just doesn't make any sense. Like, situationally and that deep in your own territory, when you're getting the ball back, you're probably going to catch it at the 40. Drew Chrisman, he went to Ohio State. It's his 4th game punting the ball. And they asked the Stefanski after the game, well, why'd you do? Well, because it's his 4th game, we get a little pressure on him. Okay. But again, just kind of situational. Like, it's like the players are thinking. I know everybody says, don't think, just play. Yeah, but you want to play smart. You got to know the situation that's going on. You don't just go out there just winging like an idiot, because that's what happens. And so again, I'm just kind of like, did anybody tell these guys before they ran out there? And the reason why I bring this up, because like I said, go back to the 4th down when they brought Brissett out there. Jason Lloyd earlier, who I was watching on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, said he was at the game and he's watching this play unfold. And he says he sees Pharaoh Brown come out with Brissett. And he's like, okay. Because they asked Stefanski after the game about that play. Stefanski says, well, he has 3 passing options. Well, no, he didn't, because Pharaoh Bryant's not a pass catcher. Harrison Bryant should have been out there. Then you would have 3 passing options, right? But Jason Lloyd said he's watching. It looks like they were trying to sub Harrison Bryant out there late, but they couldn't, because if they did, it would have been a penalty. So again, it's just things like that. You're just kind of like, what the hell are we doing? Like, they just look unorganized. They look just out of place. They don't know what's going on. They just look so unorganized, dysfunctional out there. So at times, and you just kind of question the head coach. That's where it all goes back to. And again, just sometimes some of their logic on their play calling. It's just like last week. We did our post game last week. Me and the guys were on here back to the Texans game. Remember that play where they gave up the safety and he had Kareem Hunt? They're going to hand it off to Hunt, and Hunt's way back in the back of the end zone. And that's how they got the safety, because he's 10 yards away, and he's damn near on the back. He's underneath the damn goal post. And we're going to hand the ball off from way back there. But then yesterday, you see when they converted, it was like in the first half rather, when they converted a short down, they just put Hunt basically in the fullback position, because it's a shorter distance, so he can get it's like, where's the logic? Sometimes you're just watching this stuff, you're just kind of like, and then the team just doesn't look inspired at times. And I tried, I'll be honest, I've been flip-flopping with this all year, because I don't like running coaches out of town. I think that wreaks dysfunction when you constantly do that. That's what the Browns have been. They've been a dumpster fire for a long time. Now, in recent years, it's looked a little better, but you could still see it there. Okay, you finally got your quarterback. Okay, you finally got some other pieces. I like Andrew Berry, but Andrew Berry didn't do a good job this offseason coming into the season. Let's just call it like it is. You came into that season with that kind of defensive line, that kind of receiver core. Anthony Shores barely hit the field last year. After that week 2 incident with the whole Baker thing, the pick, he never really played again. And you're banking on this guy to come back year 2 when you knew Brissett was playing? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it just doesn't. And again, I brought this point up on a live 2 weeks ago. I think it was after the, which one? On the Bills, after they lost to the Bills. Look at the schedule here. After they lost to the Bills, we did our live that night. It was me, Dan, Mike, and my dad. And I brought this point about the analytics. And I said, analytics are good. It's information. But it shouldn't be your end-all, be-all. And so now I'm kind of looking at the whole organization as a whole. We know ownership. There's always been questions there with ownership. We get that. Nothing you can do about that. But if we look at from there on, all right, Paul DePodesta, Andrew Berry, that's your front office. Now, again, I like Andrew Berry. I think Andrew's done a lot of good things. He got Deshaun Watson. He's made some nice picks. Some picks haven't hit. That's a question mark. But again, you look at some of these rosters. Last year, you caution at times, especially at defense. And then you come back this year, defense is kind of the same, but worse. It starts in the trenches. You're in the AFC North, and they come into the season with that defensive line. They come into the season with not a lot of depth at linebacker, and they come into the season with, they're just kind of like, a lot of just. It's either two things. Either that's just they thought that roster was going to be good with some of those pieces at the depth spot, at the wide receiver, banking on a lot of young guys. You're banking on rookies. They're rookies. Yeah, even second-year guys. It takes time to develop. Some guys are just have it like that, but that's not often. It's like when they that's why when players go to college, it takes 3 years to develop. Now, some guys just get it off the rip. They're just that good. But a lot of players, it takes time to develop. That's just part of the process. That's football. Bodies are growing. It's just it's a unique game. It's the best game, but it takes a while to develop. And so again, and not only that, just in sports in general, where's the veteran leadership? Because I don't see any veteran leadership. Like, I'm talking about like dudes like defensive linemen, dude that's been around the league, doesn't really give a shit about anything, coming out there, getting on guys. They don't have that. When the team is going downhill, it just goes downhill, and everybody's out there just going with it, just like that's all you see right here. I don't know. And it's just, again, the culture. It goes back. You have to look at your coaching. You have to look at your culture. You have to look at your front office. And again, back to the analytics point. Some of these play calls, that Jacoby Brissett play yesterday, that's analytics. And that's too analytical. Like that's not. When does football knowledge, common sense get put into this? Because I feel like, and this is the reason why my take was completely different from today, from the game, when the game ended yesterday to now. The more I thought of it, because I've had this thought, when I watched this team all year, they just don't look like, it just doesn't look like an NFL football team sometimes. Like, what I mean by that, and you watch a lot of these other teams, they may not be that good, but they just do certain things, like the basic things well. They play hard. There's always effort. They always seem like there's like a fire. They got a chance. Like, what I mean? The Browns just seem like, they're just so flat all the time. And everybody on the coaching staff is just flat as well. Everybody on the sideline is just flat. It's like, we don't get off to a good start, then to hell with it. But even in the games that do get off the good starts, they can't maintain it because their second and third quarter is so awful. the meat potatoes of the game, they're so awful. Their adjustments aren't good. They're situationally, they're not good. It's just, and then the penalties. Again, to me, when you have a team that has that much lack of discipline, it goes back to the head coach. And we've seen a lot of these games this year. I mean, the penalties yesterday, and some people say, there was a couple penalties that were ticky-tack. Like, I thought the Ward pass interference on Chase in the third quarter, I thought that was a little ticky-tack. I didn't think that was a PI. But a lot of those penalties, they were penalties. You go back and watch, you're like, no, that's a good call. And what it was just a dumb play. Some of the play, like, you're just kind of like, bro, really? And in key moments, it always happens in the key moments. And so, again, this is my take for this. Not only just for the game yesterday, but just for the Browns, the state of the Browns in general. Because you just paid a guy, you traded 3 first-round picks, and you paid a guy $230 million. You got to have a franchise quarterback to win in the NFL. I get it. And I think Sean's a top 10 when he's full go. But here's my take and why I bring this up with Deshaun is because you can't expect one guy to just carry everything. Nobody can carry everything. Tom Brady had Bill Belichick. It was an equal balance. And had a good front office and a great owner. Or, a functioning franchise. A lot of these other owners, I mean, look at Ben Roethlisberger with Mike Tomlin, all those years, stable organization. There's a counterbalance. You can't expect one guy to just carry everything. And not only that, Deshaun Watson's new here. I think he's got a good attitude. He's got to keep a good attitude right now. There's a lot going on, obviously. He's coming back. He's trying to learn, reacclimate to the game. But as time goes on, you have those moments like yesterday where he pulls the guy out of the game. I mean, what player wants to get pulled out of the game? Not only that, you're the franchise quarterback. You're Deshaun freaking Watson, and you're getting pulled out of the game on a key fourth down to start the game. You just nailed 2 passes that were great. It just doesn't make any sense. If I'm Deshaun Watson, I'd probably sit there looking at Kevin Stefanski. Like, man, what the hell are you doing? You don't think I can convert a 4th to 1? That was all analytics, and that's the problem. They're getting too analytical, and they play like it too. They play like a soft team. Because everything's based off of whatever the damn numbers say. What's the odd? What's the percentage? What's the percentage play? Not what's the best football play. Not saying you don't use analytics. I'm not anti-analytics. It's information. That's all it is, though. But again, you got to have people that that know what the hell they're talking about. Football is a game. The same thing in basketball. The Houston Rockets for years. Remember the Houston Rockets? All analytical. Didn't win shit. And every time they ran into Golden State, they ran into a team that played well. And everybody, go see, Golden State fooled everybody. Not just in basketball. Golden State fooled everybody in sports. See, everybody thinks, well, they shoot all these threes. We got to shoot threes. No. Golden State has the talent to shoot the threes. They had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the greatest shooting backcourt, maybe the greatest backcourt of all time. Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. They had Kevin Durant, 7 feet tall sniper who could shoot from anywhere. They have the personnel to play like that. And then Steve Kerr just installed a system that utilizes their abilities. Because they have Draymond Green who can put at the pinch post. He can make all those passes, cutting off screens, backdoor. They would just nail teams. All they had to do is just play great defense. But again, and Mark Jackson established that culture and that defense before Steve Kerr got there. They already had great defensive culture from Mark Jackson. But again, they had all the pieces and personnel to do that. You think Belichick and Brady just whatever the analytics? No, they played chess, not checkers. And that is what good franchises do. Great franchises. They play football. They get football people involved. They get the team fired up. But again, I don't see this from the Browns. And I just don't. Again, this is why my take is a lot different today than yesterday because it, I don't know, man. I just think I like Kevin Stefanski. He's got 4 games. I'll just give you that. He's got 4 games to get it right. And if there's not a dramatic difference in 4 games, I don't know. I don't know. I think you got to seriously consider moving on because you cannot waste. You just gave up all this for Deshaun Watson. You're gonna waste it away. You're gonna expect one guy to just carry everything. That's impossible. Eventually, you're gonna piss the guy off. And this is why you just run players out of town. We run everybody out of this town because we never utilize them properly. It just doesn't. Even Odell Beckham, and I'm not. There's some things Odell did that I wouldn't defend. Not but again, you had this guy when the reason why people were excited when the trade happened back then because you thought, okay, this guy's going to add a whole lot. And we never saw that. Now, again, I'm not going to think. I don't know if Odell really wanted to be here to begin with. Had a bad attitude, maybe. If you're not bought in, it's not really going to work, anyways. But look at the small sample size. They went to L.A. and got the ball fed to him. They used him properly. That's the whole point. We had all these guys. We just didn't use them properly. We just waste, and we just run them out of town. And you're seeing this cycle reoccur. But again, what's the root cause of the problem? And I just think, again, nothing you can do about ownership. There's probably a lot of problems there. That's what it seems like. Nothing you can do about it. Fans can't. We can't. But again, you can hold the other people accountable. The coaching, the front office. It's just Andrew Barry. Who the hell said coming into the season counted on some of these guys? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I need a drink of water from this. But that's my take on the Browns. Just after yesterday, this is a post-game reaction, but this kind of was like the state of the Browns, really. Because again, I thought about that game more and more. I'm just kind of like, you should have took that game a lot more. That game shouldn't have been that kind of dull. That was supposed to be a great game yesterday, and it was just dull. Like your season's on the line. Like I don't care if you have a slim chance to make playoffs begin with. You should still be going out there and trying to win the game, like full force, fired up. You're in a division rival game, the Battle of Ohio. Play with some pride. But there's not. And again, it just makes me rethink the culture of the team. They're just too dull. They're too soft at times, and they just play kind of just out of control at times. Like they don't know what the hell's going on. Stefanski, you got 4 games, bro. You got 4 games. Because if this shit keeps up for the next 4 games, and you got the Ravens, the Saints, the Commanders, and Steelers, all winnable games. The Ravens are playing with Tyler Huntley. Yeah, the Saints mailed it in a long time ago. They mailed it in like back in week, forever. They're not that good. The Commanders got a nice little team, nice little record, but that's a winnable game. And then the Steelers, they got the same record as you, and you were supposed to be a lot better than them this year. But again, that's where Mike Tomlin comes into play. That's a hell of a coach, and Mike Tomlin. We know that. At least the Steelers, they're at least competitive. A lot of their losses, not the Browns, dull. So I say every time you get to the third quarter, every Sunday, if it's dull, it's just every Sunday. That's what it is. Just absolutely. I look over at my dad a lot. That's dad. I mean, dude, but it's not just my dad, but a lot of people that I watch games with. I'll tell you, but we get to the end of the third or fourth quarter, I look over at him. I just hear. I'm sitting there on my phone, looking at other shit. Like the hell with this game. It's just like dull. Everything's dull. The culture's dull. Everything's just dull. I mean, it's like the Deshaun Watson coming back, that the ignition it lit into everybody, the fan base, that excitement's already gone after 2 games. Not by his doing, because we expected to be rusty. I mean, I think he looked last week. I thought he looked a little better he did last week, but yesterday is kind of what I expected. Okay, but it's gone because it's just that the organization team as a whole is just dull. They don't play with excitement, no fire, and sometimes you're just kind of like, what the hell are we doing? It's like a waste of time. I don't know, man. And we and another take I got yesterday too. We seriously undervalued Ethan Poach's injury, because my gosh, this Furhold guy. I mean, I'm not knocking on the guy because I played center growing up. It's not, if you don't play center all the time, you're more of a guard. It's hard to go from guard to center in the middle of the season, really at any point. And Furhold's, he's the guy's trying the best he can, but he's just not he's not a center. He's just not. It's just not that good. The snap infraction yesterday, illegal man downfield. It's just he's just not that. He's not a center, all right. But the Ethan Poachich injury, it just killed that offensive line. That's where it all starts, in the middle, and so we got that going now. We got Watson scrambling around a little bit yesterday. He's got a dudes look out there trying to make something out of nothing. He did that one play though. Oh my gosh, that play yesterday. Some of the plays he made yesterday, you're just kind of like, okay, we haven't seen that ever in a Browns quarterback. So I feel confident there. I feel a lot better seeing that. But again, I don't know, man. I'm just questioning the culture. Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat. And whether some people like it or not, it's a fact. Your team should not come out and play that dull and that just boring all the time, because it's all the time. I mean, look at all the game. What are we? The Jets game, that was a debacle. That alone, that should raise an eyebrow. The Falcons game, you just let the Falcons run all over you. The Falcons. The Chargers game, you get a miracle. Brandon Staley goes for on a 4th and 2 on their own 40, and they give it right back to you. What do? We just set up for a long, giant field goal for a rookie to kick it. We lose that game. Patriots game, outclassed, outcoached, out everything. Just embarrassment. The Ravens game. Yeah, you could probably go back to that game. Could have won that one. Dolphins game, same thing as Patriots. Just ran off the field, outclassed, unprepared, everything. The Bills game. You had some chances to win that game too, and the play calling was a little iffy at times in that game. They expect you to beat the Bills, but you're on a neutral site. It was in Detroit. You go back and watch that first half. They were kind of in it. No, threw that one away. Again, it's just the only time they ever look good is when they play at home and on a night game at home. When they play at night and at home, like the Steelers game and the Bengals game, they look great. They play great at night at home. Other than that, it's 50-50, and that's a problem. There's no consistency. And so, hey, man, they better come out. I don't care if you're out of the playoffs now. I mean, you got a slim chance anyways. But if they come out to this game against Tyler Huntley and the Ravens at home on Saturday and lay an egg, you already know what time it is. There we go. You already know what time it is. Get them out of there. If they come this Saturday, that's what I'll be watching. I'll be watching. I don't not it's the hell of the play. We're not going to the playoffs, all right? That's been long gone, anyways. If they go out there Saturday and the Ravens go out there and just have one of those games where they got their backup quarterback in and John Harbaugh goes out there and just completely outcoaches Stefanski, you just see another. If it turns into one of those games where you're just at the end of the game, you're just like, that's a great organization over there, and that's a bad one over there. Then that's what time it is. Get them out of there. There's no excuse. They better win this game Saturday at home, or at least look a hell of a lot more inspired and better than they have been. It should be a dog fight. No need. You better not throw in the towel. Don't look like a team that's thrown in the towel and quit on their coach. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out who Kevin Stefanski and all these guys really are. And so, I'm telling you, man, Saturday they better not, because I don't want to break my TV. I know a lot of people don't either. I'm tired of watching this. It's just a wait. We're just wasting guys' primes away. That's my take for today. I appreciate you guys for tuning in to the Browns postgame reaction. Hopefully, it's a lot better next week. Hopefully we can finish the season with just a little more optimism going into the next year. Hopefully we don't have to run another regime out of town again, because who knows, we can get the next one right, the hiring right. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Other than that, one positive is that they think Deshaun played a lot better. They did the week one. You can see he's getting back, so that's a good sign. At least we got that going for us. Thank gosh, we got that going for us. But other than that, hopefully, like I said, hopefully they finish out the rest of the season strong. That's all I got to say. But other than that, thank you guys for tuning back in. Like I said earlier, if you're new here, like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Yeah, and I'll see you guys later on the next one. I'm out of here. In a second, let me get my background. Now I can go. All right, I'm out of here. Gone.